From the ashes, something greater emerges. Not a savior, but a force. When fire consumes everything, it doesn't discriminate. It reduces all to the same fragile dust. Yet within that dust lies the seed of rebirth. To rise is not to repair what was, but to construct what should be. Pain becomes the architect, loss the blueprint, and destruction the catalyst. Flames are honest. They take everything but offer clarity in return. You do not walk out of the inferno the same. You claw, crawl, and stagger your way out, stripped of pretense, weighed down by ash, yet alive. Alive and unwilling to let that fire define you. Ashes may fall, but they do not bury. Beneath every ruin lies something unyielding. The world will mock the fallen, thinking them broken. But the broken are merely biding their time, waiting for the right moment to strike. Fire only exposes what was already weak, burning away the lies and leaving strength in its wake. To rise from the ashes is to claim a victory that no one can see but you, a private triumph over despair. No one watches the smoldering remains for a resurgence. That's why it's so satisfying to surprise them. The fire didn't destroy you. It made you unrecognizable to those who thought they knew you. There's a cruel elegance in the destruction. Flames don't whisper promises of healing. They roar with mockery as they consume. But they also leave behind the raw material of resilience. Ashes are what remain when the world has thrown its worst at you. Rising is not a polite return. It's a violent reclamation of your power. The fire dared to test you, and now it has failed. You rise not because it's expected, but because you have nothing else to lose. The ashes are a graveyard to some, but to you, they're the birthplace of something unstoppable. To rise is not to simply exist again. It's to dominate the very force that tried to extinguish you. Those who fear fire will never understand the freedom it brings. You don't fear it anymore. You've walked through it, breathed it, become it. Ashes cling to your skin and the world may call you dirty, but it's a mark of survival, not shame. You are not what you were before the fire. You are more. Those who rise from ashes don't look back. They stare forward with a focus sharper than the edges of the flames that tried to consume them. Darkness greets you not as an enemy, but as a reluctant ally. The shadows stretch and whisper, thinking they hold power, but you've come to know them for what they are, fleeting. To someone born of fire, darkness is nothing but an echo of something far more terrifying. You have tasted obliteration and come back hungrier. Shadows fear the fire because they cannot extinguish it, and you are nothing if not the embodiment of its heat. Rising isn't an act of defiance. It's a declaration that nothing can keep you buried. Theatrics are a tool for the uninitiated, they say, but you know better. Theatrics are weapons for the survivors. When you rise from the ashes, you carry with you an aura of the unimaginable, the inexplicable. To those who see you, you are not a man or a woman. You are a myth, a legend. Masks are unnecessary when the scars on your face tell a louder story. There's no pretense left, no need for explanation. The fire stripped you of all the extras, and what remains is raw, terrifying truth. Humor becomes sharper in survival, like a blade forged in cruelty. To laugh in the face of the fire is not madness, it's mastery. You laugh not because the situation is funny, but because you understand the absurdity of fear. The fire thought it had the power, but you showed it otherwise. The ashes may cling to you, but they hold no weight. Each step forward is a reminder that what tried to kill you failed. You don't rise to inspire others. You rise because it's the only thing worth doing. War is fought in the small moments, when the fire has burned out and all that's left is the choice to stand again. Peace didn't teach you strength, it taught you complacency. The fire taught you vigilance. Victory comes not to the bold or the lucky, but to the unrelenting. Rising from the ashes is not an act of rebellion. It's an act of inevitability. You cannot be kept down because you've already been to the bottom and there's nothing there to fear. Action is the only antidote to the poison of hesitation. Waiting is the slowest form of surrender, a coward's way of dancing with fate. The world feeds you lies about patience, whispering tales of a kinder tomorrow, a softer time to act. But tomorrow is just a mirage, a promise that crumbles like ash in the hand. Action doesn't wait for permission or perfection. It carves its path, brutal and unapologetic. The world burns for those who hesitate, while those who move seize the flame and mold it to their will. Inaction is the death of all potential but movement. It's the pulse of defiance. When fire devours, there's no pause, no second thought. It consumes. The lesson is clear. Action is what survives. To wait is to invite destruction. To hesitate is to offer yourself as sacrifice. Those who rise know that action is not an option. It's the weapon against despair. Even failure trembles in the face of relentless motion. The dark promises nothing to the idle. It only grants power to those willing to claim it. One step forward, one breath taken. It's in these moments of movement that the chains of doubt fall away. Every villain knows the secret. Hesitation is the game of fools. Heroes ponder. They weigh morality against necessity, draped in the illusion of choice. But the ones who act, who strike without waiting for certainty, are the ones who shape the outcome. To hesitate is to falter. To act is to command. The fire doesn't ask why. It burns because that is its nature. And those who rise from it take the same creed. To act without question is to rise beyond limitation. Action is the sharp edge of survival, cutting through the haze of indecision. In the shadows, hesitation festers, feeding on weakness, growing stronger with every second lost. But to act is to wield light like a blade, slicing through the gloom, leaving no room for fear. The dark whispers warnings, taunts you with consequences, but action silences it all. Even the shadows step aside for those who refuse to pause. Action is not reckless. It's calculated chaos, the kind that reshapes the world. The fire is merciless, and so must you be. Those who linger are consumed, their ashes scattered, their potential wasted. Action makes no promise of safety, but it guarantees transformation. The hesitant wait for signs, for stars to align, for fate to give them permission. But the fire waits for no one, and neither should you. Those who act wield the flames, bending them to their will. Inaction is surrender to the fire's appetite. Action is the act of becoming the fire itself. The weak drown in contemplation, their minds tangled in the web of what-ifs. But action cuts through the web, rendering doubt useless. The strongest are not those who think the most, but those who move, who leap, who seize. There's no honor in hesitation, no virtue in waiting for the perfect moment. The moment you act becomes the perfect one. Action is the darkness' greatest enemy, for it thrives in silence, in stillness. To act is to scream back into the void. To act is to hold power over time itself. Every second spent waiting is a second stolen by the forces that seek to bury you. Action, however, turns seconds into weapons. each one a strike against the weight of the world. Those who hesitate are slaves to time, but those who move are its masters. Even when fire rages, threatening to consume all, the act of stepping forward transforms the inferno into an ally. Time respects no one but bows to those who command it with their actions. The world remembers those who act, not those who ponder. In the ashes of hesitation lies the carcass of potential, its bones brittle and forgotten. Action breathes life into the ruins, turning what was lost into the foundation of something unstoppable. Every movement becomes a mark on the fabric of existence, a declaration that you will not be erased. The fire tries to erase all, but action writes its name in the flames. It carves itself into history, a scar that no time or tide can smooth away. Inaction is the ultimate betrayal. To yourself, to your power, to your potential. Every missed moment is a silent agreement to let the fire win. Action is the rebellion, the middle finger to the forces that demand submission. To act is to choose your fate, to rip control from the hands of uncertainty. The fire teaches this lesson harshly. Rise or be forgotten. And in action you rise higher than the flames ever dared to reach. What once sought to destroy you becomes your fuel, your weapon, your legacy. Rise from the ashes, not as a victim, but as the embodiment of action itself.